All right, Jared, it appears to me that it's 1:30, and I would like to call the meeting to order of the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. We were going to start with introductions and establish that we have a quorum. My name is Gail Sturdivant. I am the Acting Public Works Director for the City of Colorado Springs and the Chair of the TAC. We'll go around the room. Jared, if you could help me facilitate the movement in the room first, that would be great.
That won't be a problem. We can start on the south side of the room with PPACG staff if that works.
Jess Bechtel, tip planner.
Danelle Miller, transportation plan.
Jason Doshtown, Palmer Lake Public Works Supervisor.
Lan Rao, transit division manager.
Jeff Guthrie, CDOT Region 2 planner.
Lachelle Davis, CDOT Region 2 local agency.
Victoria Chavez, Transportation Planning Manager, El Paso County.
Tim Roberts, City of Colorado Springs, Traffic Engineering.
And Madam Chair, that is everyone around the table in the room.
Okay, great. Going around the folks that are online, it looks like Ben, you are up first.
Ben Sheets, City Engineer, City of Fountain.
Aaron.
Aaron Busto, Federal Highways.
Okay, Darren.
Darren Horsemeyer, Schriever Space Force Base, Community Planner.
Okay, Jeremiah. All right, we're going to skip Jeremiah for now. Kathleen.
Kathleen Collins, CDOT Statewide and Regional Planning.
All right, great. Lindsay.
Lindsay Hawkes, Region 2 Planning.
Okay, Chris.
Chris Padilla, Colorado Springs Airport, Senior Planner.
Great, thanks, Chris. And then I'll give Jeremiah one more time. It looks like there's somebody named Jeremiah on the line. Okay, maybe he stepped away. Jared, it appeared to me that we had a quorum. Could you confirm, please?
I'll have Danelle make that confirmation for me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes, we do have a quorum. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. And again, I apologize for not being able to be there in person. Had a mediation that was butting up very close to this meeting today, so I'm glad it worked out that I was able to join you. I want to move on to item number 2 is agenda approval. Before we ask for approval of the agenda, I know there had been some email discussion back and forth with the members of the TAC about potentially changing the TIP workshop and then the TIP recommendation for approval based on 2 things. One, wanted some more time to be able to have the workshop and some discussion with the applicants. And then 2, it appears that we might actually be missing one of the applications in the information that was put out in your agenda packets. So I'm going to propose that we remove item or change item 6A for discussion on future calendar and workshop for that item, and to have a discussion if we want to extend the call for projects, and then to remove item 7A. And I'd like to open it up for discussion for that topic. If there's no discussion, then would somebody be willing to approve the agenda either as published or as modified per my recommendation?
This is Chris Padilla. I move to approve. Is that right?
With the modified agenda that as I presented it, Chris?
Correct, with 7A being removed, correct?
Yes. And do I have a second?
This is Tim Roberts with City of Colorado Springs. 6A would also be tabled.
6A, I'm actually proposing that the workshop is tabled, but we take the time to discuss the upcoming workshop and if we need to extend the call for projects, because it does appear we might have been missing 1 or 2 projects on what was assembled.
Okay, so we hold the item with that option. Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, the modified agenda is
Call
what we
to
will
order.
be.
Actually, Gail, I seconded, and I'm not a voting member today.
I will second for Tim, Victoria.
Okay, so for correction for the minutes, it was first, the motion came from Chris Padilla and then seconded by Victoria. I will take the vote one more time, just for the record. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, we will move on with our modified agenda. Third item on the agenda is public comments or presentations for items that are not currently on the agenda. Jared, is there anybody either online or in the room that would like to make a comment or presentation?
Madam Chair, I'll ask anyone in the room who would like to make a public comment to please go up to the podium at this time. At the same time, anyone who is online who would like to provide public comment, please use the raise hand function to signify that you'd like to make a public comment. As I have done all of that, I do not see anyone coming to the podium, and I do not see anyone with their hands raised online. So I think we can move forward from public comment. Just awareness, Madam Chair, we did have several additional people come online since the original introductions. I'm happy to call them out, or if you wanted to do it, or just move forward.
If you could see if there were voting members that joined us, I would like them to introduce themselves.
We
For
do
the
have,
record.
yep, we do have one voting member who joined in, Benjamin Schmidt from Woodland Park.
Okay,
This is Ben Schmidt. I apologize for being late, but I'm here. Thank you.
thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to item. Sorry, I moved to the agenda. Move on to item 3, approval of the minutes. The minutes were published in your packet that was presented. I would be looking to either if there's any corrections for folks to bring it forward or bring forward a motion to approve the minutes as published.
This is Jason. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, great,
This is-
thanks, Jason.
This is Lan. I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as published. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Great, the minutes are approved as published. Board of Directors report. Who is taking that today, John or Danelle?
I can take that, although I was not here for the Board of Directors meeting this month. So we did have 2 transportation items that went to the board, the UPWP for federal fiscal years 24 and 25, and that was approved by the board. We also took to the board the community traffic education or traffic safety education review. And that was sort of the gap analysis that we did with the consultant. There was a motion from the board to delay that for a month for their acceptance. There was one board member who just had some questions. So John and I are going to meet with that board member separately and make sure that everything is addressed.
Okay, great. And please let us know if there's any support you need on this. I know that the member was somebody from the city of Colorado Springs. We'd be happy to support you if need be.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah. All right, great. Any other questions for Danelle? All right. Hearing none, we're going to move on to item 6A. And again, this was modified from their agenda. We're not going to have the workshop today. One of the things I'd like to propose is that we ask the PPACG staff to put a doodle pull out so we can have the workshop. One other thing that came to my attention later today or just shortly before the meeting, that it appears like there might have been an application or 2 that was submitted that may not have been included or somehow got lost getting to PPACG. And I wanted to see if there was any discussion or appetite for extending the call for projects or giving them the opportunity to gather these other applications. So I would like to open it up to the floor for those two items. One, for rescheduling the workshop and asking for a due to poll, and two, if we should have an extension on the call for projects.
This is Chris Padilla. I'll move to extend the call and ask for a doodle poll.
Okay, great. And with the extension and having to schedule in this workshop, how much time would we like to give on that? I think it sounds like it's missing ones. I was actually going to be proposing a short duration, but I'd like to get input for those whose applications might not have been included in the packet.
Has anybody asked or kind of given out any timelines for any of the applications that were dropped?
I don't know that there's been a specific time. Tim, I believe that you identified the one that was missing. I believe it's ready to go, so you could do it potentially in the next day or two.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
We could get it to PPACG by tomorrow.
And then I believe there was potentially one other. Let me look at those notes here.
I think we're good to go as long as we can have the workshop the next couple of weeks and make a recommendation from the TAC for sure in October. And so that gives us a couple weeks here to sort out whatever's missing and look at those in a separate workshop. So as long as we have everything moving by then, and that keeps us on track for our long range plan schedule, as well as the TIP project approval schedule that goes into that, which we need basically to go through board by December and then approved in January. So we're still good. Apologies if I've lost anything or dropped anything. I will help get those organized and cleaned up and we'll get it going. So yeah. Do we want to give it like a through next week extension call for projects? Is that enough time or?
I was actually going to propose till September 27th. So it gives you a couple times next week to do any additional assembly.
Sure.
And then distribute it back out to the group for the workshop. And then that gives us time to get folks on calendars for the workshop. Again, I would agree with you that happens in the next 2 weeks. I would also recommend, and I did have a discussion with PPACG staff, that we, in addition to the request summary that was sent out in our packet, that they give us a workshop summary. So as we make adjustments, the difference between the requested and what were recommended, we can see those pretty easily in one location. So I would would like to give the staff more time to put that in as well. I would say just the sample you sent me, Jessica, it looks like if there's a category that has had more requests than is available, it's adding instead of subtracting and showing that we've over requested. So it also suggests that we go and look at the math and the spreadsheet that we're using to help make these decisions.
We'll double check it. Once
As
we get the
well.
additional projects that are missing, we'll make sure everything's jiving properly.
Okay,
So
that would
thanks.
be great.
Yeah.
I
Gail?
would also, yes, ma'am.
So since the time we had submitted one of our applications, we've had it funded. And so I would love to have a little bit more time to put in a different application for a different project. So
Okay.
maybe a week or two longer. I could probably maybe squeeze it through. Hopefully you don't have to go to my board, but if I do, I need a little bit more time to do that.
Would you have a board meeting if needed on October 3rd?
Honestly, I'd have to check the schedule, and I also need to check with my higher ups.
I am very concerned about being able to get the workshop in and make a recommendation back to the PPACG staff for the board members. So maybe Jess or Danielle, you guys can help me out. Where would be the latest date? Do you think you could facilitate extending the call for projects and updating the materials to get them out for the workshop and for what you need for TAC and the board? Because I think you're really looking at the November board, the October TAC and the November board, correct?
Because this this call for projects is for a full tip document. So Jess has been working on putting together the full tip document because it has to go out for public comment. And that 30-day public comment period has to happen before it actually comes back and
Okay.
we have the final approval. That's the only crunch in terms of time limit. If it's possible to get selection done prior to the October TAC, that would be ideal.
Okay. So I'm pulling up a calendar with our October TAC meeting, which is on October 19th.
What if you give me till the 9th, Gail?
If we give it to the 9th, could we work on getting our workshops scheduled the week of the 9th? Later, like the 12th or 13th or the 16th or 17th? Does that give you enough time? for
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Well,
That would work.
you, Victoria, I know, but does it give the PPACG staff enough time?
Yep, that was Jess. If we can do that, that would be great.
Okay, sorry about that. So I think we are proposing till October 9th to extend the call for projects and targeting either later that week or the very Monday or Tuesday that following week for our workshop. Is that correct?
Sounds good.
Thank you, Gail.
All right. Thank you. And since this was a discussion item, do you need anything else from the TAC from a vote, or is just the administrative instruction? Is that adequate?
I don't think we need a vote on that, Jared, do we?
I don't think so. We just pulled it from, now we're just scheduling a new meeting based on this discussion, so.
Okay.
Just
Well, go ahead.
one word from Tim, just my apologies to PPACG staff for not getting that application.
I'm pretty sure it's me. I'm learning as we go, so thank you for your patience.
Yeah, it takes a
Madam-
village. We're here to support each other. So thank you for everyone for that discussion. So we'll expect to see something coming up for the PPACG staff, extending that call for projects to October 9th and the doodle poll to get that workshop scheduled. Since it is a short time frame, I'm asking everyone to do what they can to find as much time as possible where we have overlapping opportunities to have a discussion, or if you cannot, please send somebody representing your entity if you have an application so we can meet this revised schedule. All right.
Madam Chair, sorry. This is
Yes.
Lachelle with CDOT Local Agency. Also, if you can get me even draft applications so that we just have a quick chance to review, that'd be great. Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Lan. I have a comment. Before the workshop, just the one number in the table, if you can double check that number, that would be great. For fiscal year 29 under 5310, it seems low. I don't know if it's a typo or. Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right. I think we're ready to move back to the agenda. Agenda item 7A was pulled. So we'll move on to agenda item 7B, the long-range transportation plan, the financial plan. Dano?
Yes, thank you. So we have been working quite a bit on various elements of the LRTP. I did put some just ongoing status updates up at the top of your memo there. So traffic demand models ongoing. The public survey that we put out with our consultant Kearns and West, that did end on September 7th. We had more than 800 responses to that particular survey. Kearns and West is helping us crunch some data now to kind of get a good picture of what those responses said, what zip codes some of those responses came from, just getting an idea of the results of that. In addition to that, the second RATPAC meeting, the Regional Transportation Plan Advisory Committee, will be held on October 12th. Everybody on the TAC should be invited to that. If you're willing and able to come, we would certainly welcome your participation in that. For that second Rat Pack meeting, we are looking at doing an overview of the survey responses, the Rat Pack stamp of approval on the vision and principles or principles/goals. Those will actually come back to TAC next month for committee approval. We're also looking at talking with them about the scoring criteria as we had worked through in our TAC workshop a couple of weeks ago. And then I've sent that out for review with everybody. If you have any additional changes, any suggestions, happy to take those, and we'll bring that back to the TAC as well. But we did want to share that with the, at least the criteria with the Rat Pack. And we are also going to integrate our active transportation plan a little bit into that Rat Pack meeting. So we're going to have an exercise related to the active transportation plan, since we do have that large group of stakeholders all together in one room at once. We felt like taking advantage of that opportunity to integrate plans was a good fit. Couple of other things. Lan, do you want to give a quick update on the transit and specialized human services plans?
Sure. We are actually very close to our very first kickoff meeting with the consultant. That meeting was postponed, rescheduled one time due to the signatures on the contract, but we're moving forward. I think the meeting is scheduled for next Wednesday, on the 27th.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. I talked a little bit about scoring. Again, if you have any changes, that'll come back to the TAC group. Also the project list. So it was prior to last TAC, so it must have been about 6 weeks ago or so. I sent out the project list from the 2045 plan and just asked all of the jurisdictions to take a look at that plan, see what was potentially coming back into the 2050 plan. After some discussion at TAC and some following discussions, what we're going to do here is put out a call for projects. I actually hope to have that out prior to this meeting, but I had a bit of a delay in my non-work schedule. So we will be putting out the full call for projects very shortly. We're hoping to have all of the applications submitted in December and then have project selection in January. And to prepare for that, to kind of hopefully facilitate that a little bit, we've set up interviews or discussions with each of the jurisdictions. I've reached out to everybody. If you don't have something scheduled and you'd like to talk with us, please let us know. We just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page, that all of the jurisdictions understand what they need to do to get their projects into the LRTP, and make sure everybody's kind of voices being heard, and that we are hearing everybody's feedback. So just want you to be aware of that, and please reach out to me again if you have any questions. And then finally, for action today, we did assemble the financial plan to support the LRTP that is attached to your packet here. And really, this is just reporting out what funding sources we anticipate being able to utilize in the LRTP. So the LRTP is financially constrained. The project list, basically, we can't promise more projects to the public than can be reasonably expected to be completed within the horizon of this. So really the financial plan, and we've worked with some, like we reached out to Tatiana Bailey. Dr. Bailey helped us. She's an economist in the region, and some other resources to help kind of put this together and just do our due diligence to try to get the best numbers that we can going forward before we put out the call for projects. So this will roll into the LRTP, but because it is such a big element, we wanted to bring it through the committees, make sure that you guys felt everything was in line, make sure we didn't forget anything, and just make sure that that piece feels pretty solid before we move forward. So today we're just looking for a recommendation from the TAC for board acceptance of this financial plan. And happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Thanks, Danielle. This is Gail. I do have my first question, and maybe it's not really a question or a comment, but more of a comment. Please look at the two areas where you talk about Senate Bill 21260. I think the reason why I jump it out, because I think this is the one thing a day-to-day person would pick up, is that delivery fee of 27 cents. That's actually indexed, is my understanding, and it's already up to 28 cents. And I think people are seeing that a lot. So I would want to make sure that we have a clarifying statement on that. And then when you talk about the HUTF funding, apologies, I'm going back to that location. Also under that Senate Bill 260, I believe there was some additional added fees that we may just want to catch all for some other transportation related fees. Just because, again, those are the things that people are seeing on their bills personally, and they're likely to bring up.
Okay, certainly.
But otherwise, I didn't personally have any other comments. I'll open up with questions. If you, Jared, if you could help me if somebody raises their hand, either digitally or in person, please let me know.
Not a problem. Happy to.
So any other questions or comments?
Madam Chair, this is Len. I have some questions.
Okay, please go ahead, Lan.
Okay. On page 8 of the financial plan, the very first paragraph, somewhere in the middle, additionally, funding will be adjusted to account for anticipated increased construction costs. Should we change that to capital and operating to expand beyond construction?
Yes.
Okay.
That is an excellent change. Thank you.
Thank you. Also on the following page, page 9, there's a footnote right underneath the table. This number does not include the FTA transit dollars. My question is, where is 5310? Is 5310 included in this table?
It is not, no. So this table only includes, that federal number only includes our STP Metro, TAP, and carbon reduction.
Okay. Those are my questions, and there are a couple very minor typos. I'll just
yes, please send us
them.
those. Yeah, happy to.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Gail, do you want a motion with comments changed or amendments made, or do you need this to wait?
I would be fine that if we, unless there was additional comments beyond what I had, that we move approval of the financial plan and with the updates in the two areas where Senate Bill 21260 talks about the local delivery fee and the Colorado portions of the HUTF fees.
And along with lands changes, I will move approval on all three of those.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Victoria. Anyone willing to give a second to the motion?
Yeah, this is Jason. I'll second.
Great, thanks, Jason. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. All right, thanks, Danelle. And I know there's probably others that are working with you. Appreciate you putting this together, and there's just some minor things on there, but I know you will take care of those before the board meeting.
I will. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item number 8, informational items, the CDOT standing agenda items. Who would like to go first today?
Kathleen, would you like to go?
Sure. So what's going on at HQ is, first of all, I want to extend a thank you to Danelle and Jessica for helping get us the UPWP information we needed to submit to FHWA. That was very helpful. Also, the STAC meeting this month will be on October 5th, and it'll be at C.HQ. We were able to reserve our auditorium, and so we're very happy that we can have the in-person meeting. This will be the last of a series of in-person meetings, from what I understand. That November will go back to a virtual meeting, and maybe the next following couple months will be virtual. But the October will continue the conversations on program distribution. And we covered the multimodal options fund last month, and we're going to wrap that up in October and then move to the surface transportation block grant program, as well as the carbon reduction program formulas. And then in terms of the Transportation Commission, there were 6 new appointees to the commission, and your commissioner for the Colorado Springs area, Lisa Hickey, her seat was filled by Hannah Parsons. And I didn't attend the TC meeting this morning, but I understand that they were going to be sworn in. And so Hannah Parsons is also from Colorado Springs. And there are 5 other commissioners that were had seats refilled by other people. District 2 had Shelley Cook of Arvada. District 5, Commissioner Brackey her seat was filled in by Jim Kelly of Fort Collins. District 6, which was Commissioner Barbara Vasquez's seat, her seat was filled in by Rick Ritter of Oak Creek. District 7, that was Commissioner Hall. Her seat is now filled in by Barbara Bowman of Grand Junction. District 9 is Lisa's seat that was filled in by Hannah Parsons for your area. And then District 11, Commissioner Beatty, his seat for the TC was filled in by Megan Vasquez of Elizabeth. And during the meetings with the new commissioners, basically they got a lot of overviews of different key CDOT programs. The Colorado Transportation Investment Office was one. The Bridge and Tunnel Enterprise was another. And then one of the major actions that was requested was putting the Vail Pass project on the 10-year plan. And they also had an overview of Policy Directive 1601, which is the interchange approval policy. I don't know if anyone else here from CDOT attended the TC meeting, but that's my report on the TC and on STAC from HQ. So that's it for me. So Jeff or anybody else from CDOT, if you have anything else to mention.
Thanks, Kathleen. There's not much else. Lachelle said she has nothing. From the planning side of things, Lindsay and I are diligently working with Danelle and Jessica to make sure that the tip is as accurate as humanly possible, because that's incredibly important. And we're also crunching the numbers, anxiously awaiting the rest of the program distribution discussion. But that's all, Madam Chair.
All right, great. Lachelle?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Anyone else from CDOT that I missed either in the room or online?
Gail, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Does anybody from CDOT have an update on the TPR study and where El Paso County may be falling?
Kathleen, I was seeing if you answered first. We don't have an official update. No, not yet, Victoria. I can tell you what I've heard afterwards, but it's probably the exact same thing that you've heard.
Okay, then I just would like to publicly reiterate the fact that I think that El Paso County's rural areas need to stay in a rural TPR, and specifically the Central Front Range. We have far more trips between the Central Front Range and both our eastern and western sides of the county than we do with the eastern TPR. So we would prefer not to go into the eastern TPR. We would prefer not to have the MPO be the planning agent for both rural and urban areas, and we wish to remain in our Central Front Range. Thank you.
Victoria, I'll make sure your message is conveyed. And then also just know that we started off with observations and then they moved to considerations right now at this point, and nothing has been made anything that is close to a recommendation as at this point yet. But I understand that these different boundary observations that became considerations are not true recommendations yet, and we're still taking comments at this point. But we're getting closer every day.
Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate you sending that on.
Okay.
You're welcome.
It looks like John Leosados has his hand up. John, go ahead.
So just so everybody knows, at the last board of directors meeting, CDOT did say that they wanted to be on the agenda for our next board of directors meeting, which is, what is that, the October 12th or whatever it is, 11th. But that's the one in Park County. So we already have on that agenda quite a bit of agenda. I'm not using good grammars. There's already quite a bit of stuff on the agenda that is unique to Park County, like we've done when we've visited Teller County this year, and in previous years. You know, we always like to try to have the board workshop or whatever be the agencies within that region have the ability to sort of give an update. So that combined with the that Broadmoor item that pretty much ate up the whole agenda 2 months ago, we're struggling with trying to get that item scheduled. So whether or not it will be at the board meeting or that we schedule something that is a standalone meeting is yet to be seen. But just so you know, Victoria, CDOT has requested to do a presentation to the board, and we're just trying to get it scheduled. So to the extent when we know more about that, we'll make sure that you know, so you can attend and hopefully update your commissioners on how it impacts them so that they can participate accordingly.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that.
All right. Any other questions or comments on the CDOT standing items? All right. Hearing none, we'll go to the IIJA updates and other funding opportunities. Danielle?
Thank you. So we did have a few new updates to the notices of funding opportunity that were released. There was a Thriving Communities program that was put out. There's kind of two ways to go about that. There's a letter of interest or an actual NOFO application. Those are both due in November. There's also some electric. There's an electric vehicle reliability and accessibility accelerator program. I'm not sure why it is on here twice, but it should only be on here once. That is due also in November. The bridge investment program should be coming out fairly soon, as well as the railroad crossing elimination program, but I have not heard anything about dates on that. And then the CRISI grants, of course, later this fall.
All right, thank you. Any questions for her? All right, let's move on to our next item, TIP updates. Anything on what we discussed today, Jess?
Nope. So besides that, there's just finishing up the roll forwards from 23 into 24. So as soon as those are done, I'll send you guys updated numbers with that to double check my work. And then outside of that, just keep an eye out for the doodle poll.
Great, thank you. All right. Any questions for Jess? All right, hearing none, we're going to move on to item 8, member entity announcements. I will start off City of Colorado Springs right now. I do not have any new announcements. Jared, if you could help me facilitate going around the room, please.
Sure, we'll just start on the west side with Jason.
Yeah, nothing from Palmer Lake. Sorry.
This is Len. I do have some updates. Kathleen, the MOA was approved by City of Colorado Springs City Council last week. So we are gathering signatures at this point. Once we have those, we'll send it your way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your help. I also have very good news and not so great news to share with you. Last week at CASTA conference, Mountain Metro was awarded 2 awards, the Large Agency of the Year Award, as well as the Marketing Program of the Year Award. So we're very happy. The Large Agency Award was due to a lot of the projects that we were able to complete in the last year with a lot of the community and partners help. I handed out this metric card that's part of our mobile ticketing implementation, pretty much the last phase of this whole project that we started last year. This card will give you the option without having to use your cell phone to tap on and ride the bus. And it also gives you the option to cap your maximum spending for the day or for the month without having to front the money at the beginning of your trip. So we're very, very excited to roll this out. On the not so great news side, we are experiencing vehicle shortage these days. A lot of reasons, factors contributed to that, from the supply chain delay, accidents, challenges with electric vehicles, and other reasons. So we're working very hard trying to find some solutions, including short-term, immediate solutions, midterm, long-term. You might be seeing, or you might be asked why we're using smaller, we call those cutaway metro mobility type of vehicles for fixed route service. That is one solution. We're trying to react to the situation. Also, we're trying to program our Metro Rides van pool minivans into our paratransit, ADA paratransit service. So those are coming. You might see those changes. As you know, our van pool demand has significantly decreased, even if we're working on promoting the service, but the vans are sitting there. So we're trying to find good use for them. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Lan. All right. I can't see who is next there, Jared.
It's Victoria. I don't have anything.
Okay. Is that it for members that are in the audience, Jared?
I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Jeff Wildren. I am a representative of the Town of Monuments Planning Department. So just letting you know that we're here today in representation. And then just as an announcement, we have found our next planning director, and her name is April Kroner. She's actually started this week, but I'm here representing the town. She may or may be the ones that will continue this. It may also be possibly Jeremiah Reichert, who is our Assistant Public Works Director. We just haven't decided who should take this on or not. But thank you for having us today.
Oh, great. Thank you. And it does look like Jared was online, but it doesn't look, when I tried to call him, he did not respond. So I appreciate you identifying that that's who that is. I also want to add that Dole Rabinik from the town of for the city of Manitou Springs also joined us. I mean, they are voting members for the record. And it looks like he was present when we did do our votes earlier. All right,
And since you called on me, Gail, this is Dole, the city of Manitou, and I don't have any updates.
Okay, perfect. Well, I was gonna ask you, Dole. I'm gonna go to Ben Sheets. Anything you would like to add?
I don't have anything right now, Gail. Thank you.
All right. Benjamin Schmidt.
I don't have any updates either, but thank you.
Okay, thanks. Going down. That looks like the member governments for what I see online. Jerry, do you identify anyone else that I may have missed that was in the member government?
I'm copying what you're seeing, Madam Chair, so.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, moving on to item number 9, items for future TAC meetings. We do know in October, we're targeting to have our vote on the TIP. Anything else that we want to ask PPACG staff to put on the agenda? All right, hearing none. Anyone gets one last minute shot before I call this meeting adjourned? All right, seeing no one jumping up the opportunity, it is 2:15 p.m. and I'm adjourning the meeting of the Transportation Advisory Commission. Thank you.